Okay, trying new things, um, their potential outcomes. So, trying new things is generally considered a good thing, and that's because it's fundamental to evolution. It's one of the, divergent points at which evolution could either work out or not work out. That was an interesting glitch. Um, so, when you try new things, it is generally best if you have someone spotting you, in my opinion. Because, nevertheless, I mean, whether you say it or not, the only time it ever works when you fail is when someone is there to catch you. Usually yourself, but whatever. There's a lot of new things to try, like climbing a mountain or a wall or something, or doing a backflip. Those are easy ones to think about, in which it would be really good to have someone there to spot you, to make sure that if you mess up, you still land on your feet, or at least not your neck. Um, Other things such as falling in love, I would recommend having someone there to spot you, having good friends and stuff like that. That it's important to have those things first, just in case. And it's not even really just in case. Most of the time, from what I've seen, that doesn't work out, unfortunately. So trying new things is important. I think everyone can agree on that. But sometimes it's easier or harder, depending on, well, what power you have or what assets. So if you have a lot of assets, like a car and money, you can try a lot of new things. You can go to clubs, you can get places that you wouldn't otherwise be able to get. If you have a home, you can try having a family, you can try working on a house. A lot of things require investment just to try them out. Strangely enough, though, or not strangely, because everything has its opposite, apparently, um, all these assets could get in the way of trying something like going hitchhiking or train hopping or something like that. And um, so that's when assets can get in the way of trying something or they can help it out. There's a strange phenomena that I've found in life, which is that seemingly the more you try something, the more you fail. I'm not sure if that's totally true. There probably is a crux, a point at which you get it. I mean, I guess it's just that yes, it is true because, like, say, I'm gonna put this in rock climbing. And that's why I use the word crux. Um, Rock climbing. So the more you try, the more you fail until you get it. Most things are like that, but some things are really, really, some things you never get. So if you try a lot of new things, you'll end up with a lot of failures. If you try one thing over and over again, you could end up with one really big failure. Or you could do it. It's hard to tell. That's why it's good to have someone there to spot you. Um, but one of the weird phenomena I wanted to talk about is that, like, I was trying to think of what is the most ugly thing, just because I want to know what the most beautiful thing was. And for some reason, I feel like I have a better sense of ugliness than beauty. Um, more of an ability to find things I disenjoy than things I do enjoy. Perhaps that means something about my own mental state. I imagine it does. Anyways, though, what I ended up thinking was that it's dissonance, right? A bad chord, a bad note when someone's playing music. Dissonance. But what is the greatest dissonance? Well, it's not, I was trying to think of it in terms of music and, like, is it like this, where is it? Because if you have a reason for choosing it and the person figures out the reason, it is no longer quite so dissonant. Because, you're like, oh, I understand why they chose that. It sounds bad, but I get it. And then I realized that what I was thinking of was cognitive consonance, because you understand the sound. So apparently, cognitive dissonance would be the worst thing. And the most cognitively dissonant thing I've ever seen is when you have two things that you look at them and you go, these go together perfect, and it just breaks. Just doesn't work, and you can't figure out why. Maybe two colors that you're like, these colors will be perfect together. You put them together, and it's awful, and you can't figure it out. Something like that. Something where it just seems so perfect, and you just can't figure it out. So that is something which is probably one of the worst things to find, and you're most likely to find it by looking for things that fit together, you see? So the more you try to find things that fit together, the more likely you are to find the things that fit together the least. The things that are most annoying to fit together, because if you're trying to find things that don't fit together and they don't fit together, well, so be it. Of course they don't fit together. And if you're trying to find things that don't fit together and you're choosing just these weird things that you would never layer on top of each other, like I don't know, steam power and airships, or like Victorian, or whatever. It's the steampunk thing. Like, it came together really well. They were probably kind of two random things, though, that someone might not have thought fit together at first. Not a great example, but I'm sure there's plenty of things where, like, they could be listed, which don't seem like they should fit together. And they were found by someone perhaps trying to find things that didn't fit together, and then just putting them together for the hell of it, and it worked out. So that's one of the big things with trying new things. Another subject or offshoot of trying things is the pain thing, where people say, oh, I had to learn. I really, really, really adamantly disagree with this. It has burdened me so tremendously, most of my life. So much of I've suffered, and a lot of it, almost all of it, I would say, originates in the concept that pain is good. I don't understand. Pain is not good. That's its definition. Of course, and this is my metaphor, the first person who touches fire, yes, someone had to touch the fire. Someone had to try it out. After that, it's just a waste of time. Okay? If you learn some amazing lesson through suffering, something that someone else has learned before you, it was just a waste of time. I'm sorry. I know you want to justify, excuse me, I'm getting personal here, but I've heard it so many times, and I just want to rip on these people. I know everyone wants to justify their wasted time. It was wasted time. It's sad. Okay? It's sad. It's really sad. It's not good. Some things aren't. So, the whole concept of pain being how you learn and blah 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 is, to some degree, yes. If you want to learn to take pain, you have to take pain. But that's the only thing you can learn from it. And, I mean, for certain things, yes, taking pain is important. Fighting, like, when would people tap out if there wasn't pain, like when they die or something, like when they're like, oh no, obviously you have outwitted me in fighting or something. No, obviously there has to be like a pain point at which they're like, okay, you've overwhelmed my pain threshold. So yes, there's conditions in which pain is appropriate. Is an appropriate part of learning, but the only thing pain is good for learning is pain. Learning pain. It's almost anything else, almost everything, every other pain in someone's life where they try and justify it because they learned something from it, was really just a waste of time. And that's how I feel about most of what I've been through. And the reason it's so annoying is because I just, like, for me, I know that I'm just having my time wasted, and then I have to listen to someone talk about how amazing it is, or like how great their pain was. And it's just like, why not just say it's shitty? Like, maybe it's slightly less enjoyable, but it's 1,000 times more likely to be solved if you don't validate it. Which I guess goes with there's a video I have on approbative loops, or hyperapprobative loops. If everyone approves of pain, it's going to keep coming around. Anyways, trying new things. It's good. If you have too many assets or too few assets, you can't try certain things. it's always best to be able to have someone to fall back on, or something to fall back on when you try new things. And this is something that we could all do for each other. Um, you have to have friends usually if you want to try new things. I think you have to have people who will take care of you if you damage yourself. Um, and pain, like, it comes out of trying new things a lot. And yes, it is good to try new things. And yes, the first person who gets hurt, someone had to try it. But it's not really a new thing if you're the billionth person to do it. And if you're the billionth person to make a mistake, that's a waste of time. That's just a waste of time. So, I don't know, next time you try something new and you get hurt, maybe like write a small thing on it, like how not to get hurt like that. Put it out there that it was not worth, it's not worth it to get hurt. Because otherwise someone else is going to go off and get hurt in the exact same way. Maybe that's what I'm trying to do with these videos. Thanks for watching.